The shinola on that one. All right. Now I would like to address this arts funding issue. Now this all reminds me of a humorous story of the traveling salesman. Let's say that the taxpayer is a farmer and the government is a salesman. Well, the farmer says you can spend the night in my barn, but do me a favor, don't stick your willy into any of the 3 holes in the wall. Well, in this case, the salesman's willy represents the taxpayer's money, you understand. Well, the government, like the salesman, can't help himself. Sticks his willy in the first hole, it feels good. Sticks his willy in the second hole, it feels even better. Sticks his willy in the third hole, and it hurts like hell, and it won't let go. Well, in the morning, the farmer comes out and he explains. Behind the first hole was my wife. Behind the second hole was my daughter. And behind the third hole was a milking machine that don't let go till it gets 50 gallons. Gentlemen, I propose that this arts funding is like a milking machine, and unless we shut it down, it's going to rip our dicks right off.
Tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me.
Did you know that every 7 minutes a black person is born in this country without soul? Hello, I'm B.B. King. Won't you help Don Simmons and the thousands of others that suffer from this tragic disorder? Its cruel symptoms can strike anyone. Let's take a look.
I think the Republican Party has done one heck of a job. Don't you, June?
I'll say, Ward, we Republicans have turned this country around.
Safety and good mileage are the 2 things I looked for in a new car. That's why I bought a Volvo station wagon.
Hi, I'm president of the David Hartman fan club here in Glendale. I've even met David Hartman once. What a neat guy.
Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cherry. A sweep is as lucky can be. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim cheroo. Good luck will rub off when I shake hands with you.
This is B.B. King saying, won't you please give, so that Don Simmons here and so many others can become useful members of society.
Or below me a kiss, and that's lucky too.
Right to blacks without soul. Post Office Box 1305A, Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you.
Tell me, Senator, did you nurse Catherine yourself?
What?
Did you breastfeed her?
Now, wait a minute.
Yes, I did.
Toughened your nipples, didn't it?
Oh, son of a bitch.
Amputate a man's leg and he can still feel it tickling. Tell me, Mom, when your little girl is on the slab, where will it tickle you?
Take this thing back to Baltimore.
Hello there, son. Do you know where Mr. St. Cloud is?
Oh, goody. I'm being hazed by my big villain. I wear my rubber panties just in case you tickle me. I always make wee-wee with tickles.
Are you fucking kidding me? That's St. Cloud?
Look, I like cream pies as much as the next guy. Oh, don't say it out loud. Oh, okay. Let me make a cream pie for you, okay? Then you can try it. See what you think. I do not want to taste your cream pie. They taste great. I can guarantee it. You've tasted yours? Of course I have. Haven't you?
No!
I've tasted mine. I didn't like it. I've tasted mine, yeah. I liked mine.
The point is, you gotta have a goal and go for it. I have a goal, something I always wanted and thought was impossible.
Being able to think without moving your lips?
No. That's not enough anymore. My goal is something much bigger than that.
So, how do you go about reaching this goal?
The way you go about getting it is to do every little thing in your life the best you can. If you do everything perfectly, eventually you'll reach your goal. Therefore, I'm going to do everything perfectly. I've got to start at the bottom and do as well as I possibly can the most meaningless, insignificant, mindless acts. Like my job, for instance. Boss, how much does a good cab driver make in a night?
$150.
What was my best night?
You once broke $12.
Boss, I want to drive again. I want to go right back out there on those streets and drive another shift. A perfect shift. I want to be a perfect cab driver. I want to be perfect.
Well, you're on the right track. You've already made a perfect ass of yourself.
All right!
For shame, Doc. Hunting rabbits with an elephant gun.
Elephant gun?
That's right, Doc. So why don't you go shoot yourself an elephant? You do, and I'll give you such a pinch!
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. Everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and then it's full of pep. We're gonna start with high jump. Just watch this chorus steps.
Originally settled as Ocean View during the 1850s, the city's population boomed with displaced
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fantastic Comics Presents, your weekly dose of comic book talk on YouTube from an actual store owner. Not only is this show Fantastic Comics Presents, but we are also a store in Berkeley, California, downtown Berkeley, California. We're open every Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m., where you can meet me, Yule. I'm the owner of the store. I'm the sole employee, although I do get help from time to time. Usually on Wednesday, busiest day of the week, of course. And I got some big news about the store. I got some stuff to show off. We got a slab to crack and all sorts of stuff. But first, when we get together, because we want to talk about stuff that's going on in the store. The reason why we're getting together is because maybe you don't have time to come into your local comic store, or me, Fantastic Comics, our store, and you want to get a little taste. Maybe you're just an in and outer, or maybe I send stuff to you, so pay attention to some stuff that's coming out. Maybe you want that. And, maybe you can learn a little something along the way. But first, we're going to talk about... Did any wrestling go on last week? Actually, on Saturday was WWE's Royal Rumble. I had a customer, Bruce, all the way over in Texas to watch that. Stayed at a friend's place. Hope you had a good time. We're going to talk about that because really that's about the most that was going on in wrestling. There was other stuff that went on. There was that Jay Lethal, Mark Briscoe tribute match to Mark's dead brother on Dynamite. By all accounts, that was pretty cool. There was a continuation of storylines in WWE. That was pretty good. And they pretty much came to a head here at the Royal Rumble, leading into WrestleMania, of course. First up, we had the men's Royal Rumble, because there's a men's and a women's Royal Rumble match that took a long time. And after the wrestling, I'm gonna bitch for a moment. So remind me in chat that I need to bitch about something. Peacock. That's what it is. Peacock. Number 30. Cody Rhodes returns. We knew he was coming back, but he showed up at number 30. He ended up winning the Royal Rumble and then pointed at the WrestleMania Goes Hollywood sign. Who doesn't love that? Pretty good match. It was exciting. Had a couple spots that were cool. We'll talk about one of them in a moment. In the women's Royal Rumble match, Rhea Ripley came in at number 1. Liv Morgan was number 2. They were the last two to be in the match, and they worked very hard. Rhea Ripley is a very good competitor, and it looks like she's finally going to get the chance to be that competitor. She's been doing some real good work with Dominic and the Judgment Day. The only thing that was weird about the win was that in Raw, she kind of gave a backstage kind of I think it was backstage, whatever, in front of the audience. I don't remember what it was. She came out and gave one of those, oh, I've been working so hard, ignoring the fact that I'm a shit heel right now. Anyway, she pointed at the WrestleMania Goes Hollywood sign also. And then the main event was Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns wins. Roman Reigns wins. And congratulations to him. There was some shady stuff going on. Sami Zayn was at ringside, and then afterwards they started really laying into Kevin Owens, the entire bloodline. When it came down to Roman Reigns hitting Kevin Owens with the chair, Sami Zayn got in the way, and then Roman Reigns got in his face and said, "You know what? You take the chair." And Sami Zayn did. And then he knocked Roman Reigns down and then proceeded to get his ass kicked. Spot of the night, Logan Paul versus Ricochet. They both stood opposite very precarious situation when you're outside the ring like that, depending on how you went out. But these two dudes got together and they performed something that was pretty cool. Let's see if this works. Oh boy, let's see.
He is highlight worthy. Oh my goodness, what a collision!
Dang! See, I reversed it. Let's see if I don't get a copyright claim on that. That was pretty cool. And yeah, that's it. That was Royal Rumble leading into WrestleMania. That was pretty cool. I thought it was an okay. The problem is that it's just so long. And with that, that's your wrestling minute. All right. Oops, forgot to take that down. Now Logan Paul, guys, he does a good job hanging in there with these guys, and is very good. Bravo, Logan Paul. You've come back as far as wrestling fans are concerned. He gets crazy boos. People hate him. I think they're going to continue to hate him. There's a certain amount of, you keep doing stuff like that, though, and people might be able to see, they might get the Miz sometimes gets cheered. They chant along with him in the very least. And that's it. Wrestling Minute's over. Let's talk about Peacock, okay? The WWE Network was very, very good. And as far as a platform of somebody wanting to watch something that they liked, it was excellent. Imagine whatever, the only thing they didn't have the only thing they did poorly was not get enough out there, like all of it, and then quit. Peacock is not very good. You can access it and it's all right. But when you are not watching the live streams live, right, you can't rewind it. Now, when I was watching WWE Network, you could do that. And I'm not exactly sure how it works with Amazon and the football and stuff like that. It's kind of hokey that, you can't do it. Maybe there. I know like Comcast, you can't watch the live, but you can watch a recording and then catch up. So it's pretty much the same thing. I guess depending on your recording capabilities, that is. But the Peacock, man, as far you cannot do that, and it's horrible. So Jill is waiting for me to get home so we can watch this thing. We have it on pause, but if you have it on pause too long, it will just start regardless. Get home earlier, you will. Stop working. We gotta watch the Royal Rumble, everybody. Yeah, so that kind of stunk. You're waiting for this thing to get over, and then there's the press conference that they're airing. It can't be its own separate thing that just starts and then cut it off and get the show up. So we're waiting until the end of that even. And as far as the press conference is concerned, stop trying to be AEW or New Japan. I like extra stuff. I like a feel of sports and athleticism and people talking afterwards because, those are the real raw interviews of like 49ers losing or Cincinnati when that dude makes a bonehead play that causes them to be able to get a little bit closer to kick a field goal and it barely goes over and you lose that way as a result. Those are good. Those are interviews. And wrestling, we don't want to use the F word when we talk about it. But you can only do those so often where they really matter. And not everybody needs to have anything to have, not everybody needs to have to say anything. Sometimes you just do. And, oh well. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. For those of you that are live,
We
We didn't come to borrow any money. We didn't come to borrow any dough. We didn't come to borrow any trouble. We just stopped in to say hello. Oh, hello to you, Mr. Penny. Please don't think that we are hammy. We just stopped in from Alabama. We just stopped in to say hello. Oh boy, you said it. We just stopped in to say hello. And don't forget it. We just stopped in to say hello. And I'm hello. Hello. Goodbye.
Hello, everyone. And for those of you that are here after this live thing shuts down.
Sup?
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 Hello.
What's up?
What's up? First up, Fantinuum getting in early. Do comic movies move comics? Yes, they do. Many people are first introduced to characters through movies. It takes effort to read and flip a page, but zero to sit and watch. That's very interesting because I always was I have always been led to believe that it was the comic book that actually engages the reader. You know, the act of reading it and seeing it and reading the words and reading the pictures, that when you only watch a movie, especially when you're watching a movie, you know, the difference between a film, you know, and a movie. A movie moves. A film. Ugh. Does it actually? I mean, people have to go to the theater, less so these days, because we're going to be talking about DC Comics or DC movies, or I should say the universe, and James Gunn running it. Into the ground. No, I'm just joking. Running it. We'll look at some of the things that they talked about. Sick Media says, cool. Elithidor is here. All right. Awesome. Evening. Talking Salt. Nah, they don't unless they change them to match movies. See, there's that too. I'm just not surprised Wildstorm got a feature film before Milestone feature film. I'm just not surprised. Well, who in the company that created Milestone is important? And who in the company that created Wildstorm is important? Someone wants to make some money, I'm sure. You know, it's about time. Interestingly enough, we'll get into it in just a few moments. King KDI roads to the Royal Rumble, and now it's WrestleMania. Amen. Cody Rhodes. I'm not the biggest fan of Cody Rhodes. I think he does a great job at being fine. He learned from his dad, and he probably learned from his dad and Vince McMahon. And at the latter bit of Dusty's career, it was very sports entertaining. And, you know, growing up and being in OVW, even if it's under Paul Heyman, which I'm not sure if it really was at the time. Or no, not Paul Heyman, I mean Jim Cornette. Which I'm not sure if it was at that time. You know, he has some pedigree, of course. And as far as kids, he might be one of the better ones. You know, most people will say like Randy Orton. And I guess if we're talking about, you know, like Von Erichs or like the Harts, maybe there's some people. But I'm not putting Natalia over her father. Maybe I'm missing some people, but you know, David Flair existed, and that's a shame that he wrestled. Yeah, so there you go. On to WrestleMania, maybe to dethrone Roman Reigns. I mean, it looks like that's the plan. It was the plan, and it still is. Of course, Graves has to call it a highlight before it happens. He's going to make a highlight. Logan Paul is pretty much the best wrestler today. If you want people to see something, you should have Logan Paul. If you want kids to read a comic book, you might. I mean, it has to be natural. You can't do it in a way to where it's obvious that you're being marketed to. I always enjoyed in Mad Magazine because they were the ones that put it in their magazine, someone taking a picture with a Mad. And it's usually like comedians or, somebody on the set of something. And, it just, when it's something else like, I think it was before Brie Larson got the Captain Marvel gig, or she had just got it, but it wasn't announced, and she is seen like reading the comic book. It's like kind of obvious. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong there. But Logan Paul with a comic book in your hand would be pretty good. So I hear. I mean, he's only going to have like a couple more years, and it's probably like in wrestling, he's like a heel, and in everywhere else, he's probably, depending on where you are on that curve, how big is the arc? Fantastic Comics going for 11 years plus now. Wow, even longer. The WWE network is still very good in the UK, so still get the network as intended. I guess, yeah, I could try that. Sure. The network was awesome. They went for when they wanted to get the streaming up and perfect. They got Major League Baseball because they're the good ones. They were in it. It was good. Good comics move themselves, Mr. Snicked It says. Oops, Spidey fell. Well, that's true. But before I could read, I was watching Sesame Street and the Electric Company. And especially the Electric Company would have a live action, and sometimes, and I always like the animated Spider-Man a little bit more. Because it was kind of hokey. The other one. Spidey and his amazing friends is a big deal. X-Men cartoons and the 90s Spidey is a big deal. The anime that I watched started with like, the Voltron and the Battle of the Planets and whatever, Robotech. And, it wasn't those other movies that sold themselves. It was that maybe I was predisposed to maybe like them. But you would hope that a good story would, like we saw Immortal Hulk, a book that, I mean, it's a book that should sell. All things should sell, right? I think that my taste, I have a taste where I realize that, I'm reading some hokey stuff, but it's what I like, or maybe something isn't like super quality, but there's an aspect to it that I really like, or I just like some trash for a while. It's like eating chips or going to McDonald's. But I feel that, when I talk about my good taste, if I'm trying to like impress somebody with what I've got back here, yeah, even still, there's a lot of Spider-Man in my collection. Let's see. Movies only sell a comic if there's a trade with the same name as the movie. Get into it in just a bit. Take that into consideration. Don't you find it funny that James Gunn mentioned movies, TV, and games, but never talked about the comics? Very much so. Very much so. We'll again get right on into that. Gunn says he loves comics, so you have that. it's true. He was talking about that. Gunn isn't in charge of comics like Feige supposedly is, I guess, over at Marvel. Comics also can't stay in tune with the movies because comics are always coming out, for sure. But DC, it looks like they're trying to get their stuff under control just a little bit. They kind of have a chapter 1, season 1 going on within this year, or a bunch of first announcements. We got Superman coming out real soon. Pretty excited about that, actually. Oh yeah, you guys talking about Jim Lee. Excellent. All right, very good. I'm going to run a banner talking about what we're going to be. Hold on a sec. You don't need to see that. I almost did an internet flub. Don't put your head down like that on a bottle, Yule. All right. Here is what we are going to be talking about. We're going to do the James Gunn stuff right now. So let's get right on to it. Let me just get rid of that Logan Paul video. And all right, excellent. Gunn, James Gunn. So yesterday, yesterday, Rob Liefeld was on Twitter going, "There is so much DC excitement. I can't believe they're waiting till tomorrow." And I was like, fuck, man, what's going to happen? DC Comics, hopefully. Then someone said it's about the DCU. And I'm like, oh, I don't really care. Can I care? Will I care? Probably not. But you know what? James Gunn did the Suicide Squad movie, and I enjoyed that. I did not enjoy Guardians, but almost everybody else does. I enjoyed the 2 or 3 episodes of Peacemaker that I watched. I do believe Jill enjoyed those quite a bit. So, there's without even knowing who James Gunn was, when I saw, I think it's Slither in the movie theater. Wow, I can't believe a PG-13 horror movie was so good, So I've enjoyed his stuff. So I'm interested in finding out what he has to say. So they came out with this little video, and I clipped a little bit of it. So first up, he says,
is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story.
That sounds pretty awesome. Actor A is going to be in the video game, and maybe there's going to be an animation. I like that. Sounds cool. Less jobs for people. But, that's how it is when you have celebrities voicing, animated. It's not like it's bad like the G.I. Joe days where the same person's doing like 5 or 10 voices. And if they're not doing 5 or 10 voices, they're also on the Thundercats and Silverhawks and I'm sure My Little Pony or whatever the hell it is. Oh, I know that voice. Casey Kasem. Even him. And he's like, where if you got a celebrity, if you're like, oh, hey, I'm Jerry Seinfeld did one right at one time, one of those bug movies. And you got somebody you never heard but does like really great vocals, for television, for animated. And then you have like Casey Kasem's probably right in the middle of there. Everybody knows who Casey Kasem is, but he's not. I mean, he's famous. Hollywood Star Walk of Fame, famous, but not Grauman's Chinese Theater famous. Nothing like that. All right. Says he wants a big old synchronicity going on within, didn't say comics, so Lithidor's right. And that's the very first thing I thought of, too. I was like, oh, damn. So what's he first up going to show us?
The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes.
He wrote all the episodes of Creature Commandos that are written right now. Sounds like he said there's like 7 episodes or something like that. Creature Commandos, leading off with Creature Commandos, I think is an interesting. When I ask people out there, and I mean, I'm talking to my customers. I'm talking to the people that really know DC. How long have you been reading it, and have you ever read any of the Creature Commando comics? Did you know that it started off in Weird War Tales number 93? I think it's the right number. J.M. DeMatteis did the writing, and I can't remember who they said the artist was, but oh my God, swastika, everybody. I might have these in a box somewhere in my garage. So that actually might be something that people are going to like. All of these things, all of these announcements, you're going to have to pay attention to that. Talking Soul will tell you in chat about that. So Weird War Tales. I'm going to let you know later on when we're done with all of this, the James Gunn stuff, and then talking about the comics and everything. I'm going to let you know what my spec series that you should check out is, and I'll tell you a reason why also. Next up, he talked about, let me get my notes right here. So that was going to be an animated series. And I assume all the people that voice characters in Creature Commandos could theoretically be in a television show, a movie, a video game, and they would also voice those or act those characters out. So I guess we're not going to have buttery voices of people that have buttery face also. It's good. We're going to have good looking people voice this shit too, is what I'm saying. It's going to be Hollywood. We're not going to go CW on you, okay? Speaking of CW, it sounds like there's a Waller television show about Amanda Waller. I'm not exactly sure if these are like leading off or not. What do I mean? If they're one season or more, the way TV is right now. Yeah. So there you go. That was something that he talked about. He also talked about Superman Legacy. Now we know Henry Cavill, I guess, is not going to be Superman. So they're supposedly going to. I've just been listening to people talk about it, so don't quote me on this. Going for a different person, maybe someone younger, someone that can grow up with the character. This is like an 8 to 10 year plan that he says that James Gunn has said that they've got going, and this is just chapter 1, and this is like the first half of chapter 1. He also says. So next up is an HBO. And that's the Superman he's writing. He's halfway through, and it's supposed to come out in 2025. Next up is an HBO television series called Lanterns. And James Gunn described this as Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart on Earth doing a True Detective type story. Supposedly something about the end is going to be important to the DC universe going forward. So there is that. All right, now this one's a video. So here is something that I found pretty interesting. It was already alluded to earlier about Wildstorm instead of Milestone, but this was the Wildstorm announcement.
Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters.
All right, very good, Choppy. All right, let's talk about this one for a second. The Authority. The Authority was late 90s, early 2000s, written by Warren Ellis. Everybody's letting people know that Warren Ellis, he doesn't have a Twitter handle anymore because he probably uses that for nefarious means. I mean, he's the Mr. Sinister of comic book writers out there. And he created the Authority. It was a spinoff of the Stormwatch, which was a Jim Lee production. And Warren Ellis and a couple of artists worked on that book, Tom Rainey. And Stormwatch ended. It actually ended. So the series ended. Then it relaunched with a new number one. It went a few issues, like 7, 12, something like that. And then it ended. And then there was a one-shot issue called Wildcats Aliens. And the Stormwatch Aliens. And the aliens just messed up a bunch of the characters. I think Fuji gets killed and a bunch of other people. And then the Authority comes out after that. And the Authority, I think it takes on a couple characters. It introduces some characters, and they are people that they will solve a solution. They will solve a problem. If someone's out there murdering fools and they catch them, Midnighter's more than likely to punch his head, through his head right there. Brian Hitch was the illustrator when Warren Ellis wrote it. That was the whole widescreen thing, that when he went on over to Ultimates, Brian Hitch, they did the widescreen thing, and that was really super popular. And I think overall people still somewhat use it. But the Authority, like it's you got your Punishers, you got your you got your Stone Cold Steve Austins, you got your I don't know, name a secret agent that isn't working for the government. Are they good? Are they bad? Is this a killer that has to go and save someone anyway? It's shades of gray within our heroes, and we saw it pop up in the 90s super hard. We're seeing it still go on, but it's shaping the way stories are going. We'll be talking about this one in just a few moments. Next up, we have Paradise Lost, which is a TV show. They didn't say exactly when this would happen or where, but this is Wonder Woman without the Wonder Woman, and probably a history of Themyscira. And, it'll probably be pretty cool. I'm sure I heard something about Game of Thrones. All these ladies. All these ladies, how are they going to get along? Oh, well, someone doesn't like someone. Oh, no. Oh, damn. That was later. Next up, we have... Oh, no. That's the right one. Okay, yeah. So next up, we have Brave and the Bold, which is going to introduce Batman's son, Damian, to the universe. Super, super excited about that. Almost makes me... I mean, now we got a situation here, everybody. Anybody that's been watching this show for the last few weeks knows that my New Year's resolution was I'm not going to read anything Batman, past or present or future, for the whole year. I'll read a Justice League, but I'm not even reading this Lazarus Planet. It's got too much Batman in all the issues anyway. I've got all the Grant Morrison trades. This is going to be based off Batman and Son. This is going to be based off of the Grant Morrison Batman when Dick becomes Batman, maybe? Holy cow. Those are some great, great issues. And you know what else is great? Tom King's Supergirl series. Well, I don't know if it's really great, but I think the illustrations were excellent, and it was an awesome seller in my store. I also heard that it's a pretty much an adaptation of True Grit, Charles Portis novel. I think John Wayne was in it or something like that. And yeah, this is the book that, you know, Supergirl, a lot of people are like, or I should say Tom King anyway. You know, he muck, you know, he wades through the muck. We've talked about it like, oh, he's doing counseling with us. You know, we're his shrinks. And we're paying for this. He's not even paying us for his problems that he's spilling out on us. We're reading it in the comic books. Although I will say I'm really liking Danger Club right now, and a lot of people like Supergirl. So I was thinking to myself, wow, the Superman legacy, I don't know where they're going to go. But, you know, I know Batman and Son, the very first trade of Grant Morrison's Batman with Damian showing up. And I know Tom King's Supergirl series. And so I was thinking to myself, well, I might not have those issues that I could jack up in price, but you know what would be really awesome? I should go and try and buy those trades so that when people come into my store and are like, oh, wow, do you know anything about this DC stuff that's going on? And this leads right in to whether or not we can make comics based on these we can sell comics based on these movies and these announcements. I look for Supergirl. And do you see what that red thing says right there? Back order. Dependent on additional stock from publisher. Woman of Tomorrow. The Tom King, Bilquis Evely series. I was very happy to see that the Cosmic Adventures in the 8th grade was still available by my pals Eric and Landry. Eric, R.I.P. Landry, what you doing, man? Yeah, so that's another thing that is frustrating. Let me tell you, as a shop owner, I'm like, I'm going to get ahead of this. I'm going to get Batman and Son. I'm going to Batman the Black Glove. I'm going to get Batman and Robin. I look for those, the Frank Quitely series when Dick becomes Batman with Damian. Best Batman, best Robin ever. You know, a lot of people might say that. Some people don't. The last thing, well, it was Supergirl was the last thing. But the last thing I want to talk about is the thing that kind of might possibly be my favorite thing as far as his announcements are concerned. Hopefully this isn't so choppy.
Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him.
I'm a Booster Gold fan right here. I don't have the comics anymore, but I picked them up when they were coming out. And of course, I'm a Justice League International fan. So I got to show you my Blue Beetle figurine right there. You know what, while I'm at it, I'm also a big Keith Giffen fan who he wrote those comics right there, along with Timotheus. Oh, heard that name already. So I got some Ambush Bug. Reading his mini series Upside Down right there. It doesn't matter. You want to see something shitty? So, like, one of my other characters that I really like is Firestorm. Often when I'm saying, oh, you know, you can highlight a character that doesn't get highlighted, you know, a lot of times I'll say, like, Firestorm. This thing is not metal from the same company. This is like, I could probably break it doing that. It's almost like the Frank Quitely Batman, and this is just, I'm just doing this now, Robin, but these are plastic. Those are better than that other thing. I mean, crazy. Ah, crap. Anyhow, yeah, I don't have a good Firestorm like that. Those are the characters I want to get introduced to. holy cow, that might actually be like an Ant-Man type situation where, oh, this shouldn't do very well at all, but it does actually end up performing quite well. And I think, the Ronnie Raymond story is pretty, he kind of is a loser. Some people are saying he wasn't, but, or not Ronnie Raymond, Booster Gold, Michael Carter, my brother, by the way. He is kind of a loser. He's working as a janitor. He sold out his college football career, or whatever they're calling it. I forgot. And worked with bookies and then got caught. And so then he was like just working in this, like, I think it was a museum or something like that. And he steals Skeets and a Legion flight ring. And then he goes to the past where he knows all the stocks and everything that's going to be, important. And he puts money into LexCorp, basically. It takes up residence in Metropolis. These are all things that are like easy. You could have a present day future story, and then he finally makes it to the past, and then he shows up and he's like, "Holy cow, I'm in Metropolis," or whatever you want to put him. And then maybe he has like a gleeful smile or something where he's like, "Oh man, he's gonna he's gonna go for it." And he's just like swimming in money for a long time, just trying to like build his image and whatnot. I mean, it can be very funny, probably, especially if James Gunn is depending on how much he's involved in this, it will be probably like his funny isn't quite the same as like Marvel funny or Disney Marvel funny, where like his kind of stuff might be edgy or not edgelord like some people say, but edgier. Obviously, when you got Peacemaker during Jack Off, but it feels so 90s also. And I'm supposed to be ashamed of that more often than not. And James Gunn still uses it. So I don't know. I'm kind of questioning a little bit about it. But Booster Gold, as far as the character, I'm totally down to watch something like that. That would, of all of the things that they've talked about, I would be interested. And you got to give him that Legion flight ring. You got to give him a Legion flight ring, because Legion is just like, I just have to know that it might happen. Legion fans have to know that it might happen. You're going to have like hundreds of very, very enthused fans going to the booster. Hundreds. There's tens of them out there. They're dying off. You have to make that movie quick. So yeah, I think it's promising, the Booster Gold, for a bunch of people that'd be interested. 70s, 80s, and 90s for sure. And then lastly, this is what James Gunn said.
Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before.
So I think that kind of addresses the comic book situation. He might not have said comic, but he knows where those are coming from. And he knows where, he can't say it because there's so few of us out there. Even at our height, there wasn't enough to make a movie important. That's the reason why there weren't freaking comic book movies in the 80s and 90s when Chris Claremont was trying to adapt his script to Dark Phoenix Saga. It was like he was trying to do it all in one movie. Now you get 3 movies or TV series so you can do stuff like that. Now people would be like, oh yeah, but then it wasn't ever going to happen. And he tried really hard to make it happen. He tried a lot. A lot of people tried hard to make those things happen. The closest we got for the longest time was Bob Harris on those animated X-Men. And definitely not those movies. Definitely not any of those movies. Actually, none of the movies of any of these things have we ever seen anything that was even close. Superman with Christopher Reeve at the time was very, very vanilla. But it was amazing because we hadn't seen stuff like that before in the theaters. So it did feel like Superman. It was, it was pretty sharp. A lot of people talked about Blade. Blade's like a big deal, and I think they did a really good job. It was hokey. There was stuff that was just, this is a freaking action movie. It doesn't matter. I think Spawn was very important, believe it or not, back in the day. But it wasn't very good, you know. But I think we all owe a debt of gratitude to Tom Farland and the Spawn movie. I mean, how could that have happened at one time? It's amazing. And we're going to get that soon. All right. Let's see. Oh, man, you guys are talking up a storm. This is awesome. Awesome. I feel like a real YouTuber. By the way, we've got a lot more people that have signed up. We're almost at 1,000. Let people know. I've got a super special giveaway, but we got to get me monetized first. I don't care if I'm only making 25 cents an episode, or I'm not, because, you know, I usually get copyright claims. But if the minute we get there, I got a freaking awesome giveaway. It like, you got like superhero comics, you got like Bronze Age Marvel, but you know, you only got like key issues also. But it will be really, really super special. I'll be opening it up to my Patreon members, and you know, letting Substack people know they should become patrons also, or subscribe, because you know, we're getting a lot of people from that too. Mark McGrath. I need to make that clip, Jill. Do good comics move themselves? If you've been reading for a while, you've definitely seen quality series that you've enjoyed get unceremoniously canceled. I always see the best comics always get canceled. Have you ever heard of I think it's Hard Time, by Steve Gerber and Brian Hurt. And that was really good, but nobody knows it. That was a DC comic book. It was actually from their imprint. Here's a great comic book series. Tom DeFalco. It was Bob Harris. Bob Harris wrote. Bob Harris hated Scott Lobdell and all the X-Men stuff. Well, most of the X-Men stuff that happened during that time. He was really concentrating on the animated, and it was all very important for the future of Marvel, but not great stuff all the time. And it can get worse. Just read X-Men. The great comics. Atari Force. It only went so many issues. We're lucky. Did you know that Alan Moore wrote Vigilante? He wrote some issues of Vigilante. You know, that type of stuff. It's like, what? Omega Men. Great series. They ended the war after the 6th issue. How could it keep going on? It did. But you got to care about those issues. Legion of Superheroes. There's a lot of people out there, but there's less and less because there's just so many characters. You hope things can go like DC. At one time, I was like, oh man, if a comic book falls out of bed and it gets 2 or 3 years, 24 or 36 issues. Comics these days, you get announced that you're a mini series. Everything's a mini series. JSA is a 12-issue maxi series, whatever you want to call it. It's a mini series. It's still mini. It's not an ongoing. Black Cat ends. It starts up, same creative team. It ends again, and then it starts the Iron Cat storyline. Well, it was going to be called this. You know, it's going to be a tie-in, but now we can just get a new number 1 out of it. These are the things that happen within comic books. But I mean, you like D&D? Did you know that Rags Morales did the Forgotten Realms issues? It's beautiful stuff. You know, there's a lot of things like that. Most of the great comic books end really quick. Automatic Kafka by Joe Casey. Joe Casey's Wildcats 3.0. Those were never going to last long. You can never keep it going. It needs to end. Kazar. I actually say Kazar. The Brent Jones, Brent Anderson. I could just list the names. It went 30-something issues. Moon Knight by Bill Sienkiewicz and Doug Moench. It only went so long. Comics I don't like The Thing. I didn't like that. It went a long time, but it ended. They're going to end. West Coast Avengers will end. Quasar is going to end. I'm only staying in Marvel for the most part, I feel. Like DC. You know, Amethyst. And I can talk about the books now. You're like, oh, look, Harley Quinn could only go so many issues. It went a lot of issues because, like, I'm only talking about old books right now, and you can see that Elektra in the 2000s went 30 something issues when Bendis wrote it, and then Greg Rucka took over. Catwoman went a good long time, but it still only went so long. It ended. Robin ended. All these books you're not Batman, you're not Superman, you're not X-Men, you're not Spider-Man, and even those end and start over these days anyway. So it's not necessarily Atari Force. Everybody that talks about it, Micronauts, wrong. These are books that nobody cared about at one time, but you're like, oh my God, these great creators that we ignored at one time are no longer working in the industry for whatever reason. Wow, these are like gems that I just thought were corporate soulless advertising of toys. One actor across 4 mediums. Imagine the contract they'd have to sign. Woof. Interesting. Talking Soul, I've seen more good books get awards and also get canceled in 8 issues, so they get praised but don't sell. Well, these days we like to compliment books when they own people, and this is daring and this is brave and it's good. I saw this figure skater. I'm not waiting in the muck here. But they were celebrating this figure skater. This figure skater doesn't know how to skate. I don't know how to skate. Why am I not the person? Creature Commandos was pleasantly shocked. Yes, Eric D. Well, quality is subjective, but when there is true buzz, i.e. Donny Cates Venom, it sells like hotcakes, but it definitely is a different world out there. Like I was saying, Immortal Hulk, every issue where he was reintroducing something from Hulk's past was not only selling like hotcakes, but it was also making people ask and hunt down those key issues. These aren't even key issues of somebody that was going to be in a movie. Something happened in the comic to make people want the first appearance of that character. Granted, usually it's a speculator, but it also is the FOMO and old collector that's like, man, I used to have that, and I'd really hate to have to spend $400 for this, so I'll spend $200 for it now. Oh, it's a wonderful thing when these comic books need to be bought by people. Hopefully I have some of these. I don't. I returned them or I sold out of them. That's the best thing, but it's also the worst thing in a situation like that now. Kevin Conroy might be the only DC actor who's pulled off the 4 medium scheme. Did he act also in a movie, like visually? I didn't know that. And it was as Batman. Casey Kasem quit Transformers because they refused to change the name of the fictional Middle Eastern country of Carbon. Holy shit. Wow, Casey Kasem. One of the few times he only I don't even know what to say. R.I.P. Casey Kasem. He was a real one. Talking Soul. Yes, no, new 52 Frankenstein. That's exactly the comic book that I am talking about. I think someone else said it also. This is the one I actually have in the store. Oh, not that one. God damn it. I don't know what's going on, guys. Let me try one last time. There it is. Boom. It just looked so similar. Frankenstein, Agent of Shade. When DC was announcing their new universe, their new 52. Don't say new universe, you all. There were a few books that I was really excited for. I was excited for Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo on Batman. A lot of people were like at the time, oh, isn't that the guy that does Spawn? And it's like, yeah, that guy's really, really good. And he was good before Spawn also. You guys don't realize that he's working McFarlane style. Those were, and Scott Snyder was already doing a Killer Detective.
I was big into Scott Snyder and also his Swamp Thing. There were a few other books, obviously Grant Morrison and his action. I was interested in George Perez on Superman. That was a letdown. And of course, potentially Azraella, but definitely Cliff Chang on Wonder Woman. But two books that really were the ones I wanted more than any of them was Jeff Lemire's Animal Man. That also had some really good art on that. And then Jeff Lemire on Frankenstein, Agent of Shade. And I am actually not one of those guys that really is into, Tomb of Dracula, Frankenstein at Marvel, Frankenstein at any place, because, people can use Frankenstein. And this one also had the whole Agent of Shade, which is like like a hive, but for good guys organization. That's where Ray Palmer was, if I'm not mistaken, and a few other people, and the Creature Commandos, basically. And Alberto Ponticelli does the art, and he is so good. He was, I think, working on Hellblazer before this, and did some Vertigo stuff, basically. And so I knew this was going to look really good, and this was an awesome series. After Lemire left, Matt Kent kept on the book, and I think so did Ponticelli. So this was, like 18 issues, 16, 17, 18 issues, something like that. Highly recommended. I do not have the first issue, but the best thing about it is if you are buying this for speculation, you don't have to worry if it doesn't make you any money, because it's such a good series. And you don't have to read any other thing. You just read this book. And I love the relationship between Frankenstein and his wife. If you do want another Frankenstein story, you should check out The Seven Soldiers of Victory by Grant Morrison. Unfortunately, I think just like the Supergirl, the Batman and the Sun, the Batman, the Black Glove, and a few other things that were announced from James Gunn earlier today, they ain't in print right now. So I can't make money on that. Do comic book movies drive people to the store to buy comics? Who knows? I can't sell them because I don't got them. That's right. Get your FOMO issues now. Yes, the Weasel is one of the commandos. Who doesn't love that at the end of Suicide Squad, because the Weasel, the way he dies, and it's just so fucking nasty. That whole Suicide Squad movie. This is the way I wanted it to end. I was telling Jill, as we were watching it, this is like how I would love this to end. Stara's there. They just make the agreement with each other that they're going to go and they're going to attack Stara, regardless of what Amanda Waller does to their necks and their heads and their explosions and stuff like that. They're going to go take this thing on. And then from far away, because, they're walking towards Stara, you see little rays of light streaking across, and it would just be the Justice League beating up Starro, and then the Suicide Squad having nothing that they could do about it. I think that would have been a good ending, personally. But I really enjoyed Suicide Squad. It was I during the pandemic watched it at home. Most of you can attest I don't watch movies that often, and yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed that one. I mean, it was cool. It was fun. It was all right. I feel like Gunn is saying all the right things, and he is king on great runs now. Will he follow through with what he says? Well, if he's saying Superman is in 2025, that's in 2 years. Supposedly he has a 4-year contract, and he's got an 8-10-year plan. So DC, I assume, is if I only speculate on baseball stuff. Because those contracts are you see them. So I assume if this was baseball, by the end of this animated series that he's writing, by the end of Waller, and how Superman's going, is when DC or Warner Brothers is going to have to start deciding whether or not they're going to re-up on his plan and then go with it all the way. Now, I don't know if there's any video games announced or anything like that that are going on. or anything like that. I would love to know more about it, but I don't want to work that hard on it. Although I actually do know somebody that works in video games, so maybe I'll ask them about that. So one of my customers. Been reading DC since 75, and yeah, I read The Creature Commandos and GI Robot. Awesome. I would not have, because personally I'm not a war comic reader. I don't like that stuff that much. But you know, if Keith Giffen had worked on it, I would have. I would have now. Let's see. I see. The thing about the Superman is I don't know what it is. They use the image of All-Star Superman, which would be really nice, but we know that they're going to go skew younger, I think, with that character. Fantinium says there was a rumor that they were going to go woke with the Superman movie and get Ellen Page. There's no rumor of that. I saw people say that, and I'm sure that got Daily Wired around, whatever. A buddy space cop series on Earth. Oh damn, you son of a bitch, you made me say Ellen. You don't. Yeah, man. A Mark Miller run is better. Well, you know, some people think that that's the people were upset. Let's just say that Mark Miller rankled a lot of people, and a lot of his early writings were very much like that. Even though he'd shown in Swamp Thing when he got handheld by Morrison, and Flash when he got held by Morrison, and worked on Superman Adventures, that he could tell quality superhero stories. But he really got recognition for the baby killing scene in The Authority. I mean, holy cow. I just spoiled that for people. You guys don't know. Oh, by the way, Authority Book 1 is not available. Book 2 is available. But my store has 2 Book 1s. So if you want to get in on the Authority action right now, you got to come into the store and get it. Cover price, of course. Brian Hitch said he didn't even know. I know. They didn't. Whatever. Authority has represent. Yes, that's right. They have an oblivious drug user that almost kills himself multiple times by ingesting crazy stuff. Think of the worlds he sees. You have the engineer, who's this like fluid robot, big-breasted chick. You got Jenny Century, you got Gay Couple, you've got Hawksmoor. You got some cool stuff, and I love Warren. I mean, I'm not discounting Miller's stuff, especially with Quietly drawing. Oh my god, the funniest thing was when Quietly couldn't meet a deadline, and they followed up with Art Adams. For those of you that know, you know. Mark McGrath, I love The Authority. They are the villains and the protagonists. Well, definitely if you're reading Action Comics 775, one of my all-time favorite Superman story, the best single Superman issue you can possibly read is 775. It's extra thick, so, you know. But what's so funny about Truth, Justice, and the American Way? Great story. Oh, another thing. When they were talking about Superman Legacy, they said those key words: truth, justice, and the American way. So all those people that think that Superman can't believe in America anymore, it's happening. Woo! You won. King KDI, Apollo flying through Giant Man's fake Giant Man's head is still one of the best panels in comics, dude. That is so awesome. Yeah, I mean, Miller just went in and he went all out, and it was super special. It was like you had to do something, because Midnighter was punching his fist through people's heads. Apollo was getting soaking up the sun energy and incinerating swaths of people. So what is Mark Miller going to do? And the first thing he does is he's like kills the Avengers, basically. So good. Supergirl is True Grit, and Human Target is DOA. Booster, I don't know actors anymore. As far as Booster, Legion fans would like to know for sure. I just need that ring. I just need that ring on it, please. Just so that ring, it just needs to say have an L and like what the star right there. And if you do that, all those people will be they'll go back in their chair. They'll like start smoking their cigarettes in the theaters. It'll be horrible. All these old crusty people. I have a customer that is part of like this super long Legion fanzine, fan group. And I always talk about it a little bit with him, but I always feel that like to be involved, I would really have to like, like they'll be like, okay, what is Saturn Boy's real name or something like that. I'll be like, oh my God, you can't be doing this to me. I gotta study. I gotta get out my magazine and start studying for it. I don't know if this is good or not, but Harry Styles is Booster Gold. There you go. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Mark McGrath, good job. These DC focus books were great. Kinetic for Action Touch and Hard Time was a real star. Hard Time was amazing. It was about a kid whose powers kicked in at school during he's doing a Columbine situation, and his powers kick in, and he basically kills everybody in the lunchroom, including his friend. And so he goes to prison, and he gets like thrust with the adults and everything, and it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. It was neat. Eldad says, "Hey, you'll hang out with your brother." Mike says, "Hi." What? He corrected my spelling. It's fine. I see it always. Well, I mean, he has to be the happiest about this Booster Gold situation. All right, everybody. I got to do this quick. We'll end with it. Let's crack the slab. Oh, wait. Before I do that, I'm going to do this. Let's see if you guys enjoy my, oh God, I don't know why things aren't working all the time. Let's see if this works. All right, we're going to crack the slab. I am really, really big on getting my comic books out of the slabs that these are sent to. There's these little barcodes right here. We're taking this off the grid. It's going to get a little loud here. Oh, yeah, people want to see this. Let's see if... So what I'm doing is I'm taking this screwdriver and I'm taking this this hammer and I'm trying to get right in. Let me do this. And I'm trying to get right on in here. Let's see if this will work. All right. Without screwing anything up too much. Let's see if I can get one more in there. All right. On the sides, it really seems that it works pretty good. So then I can like take it like this. Just crack it. And look at that. Just like that. I've got a comic book that was a 9/6 grade by CGC off the grid. Now, some of the plastic broke off. Let me just take care of that. Oh, yeah, this is from my time, man. 50-cent comic books. I was totally buying Spider-Man. The issue right before this is signed by John Romita Jr. I would go to this convention. Let me just fix this now. I would go to this convention in LA. My father would take me. I think it was just once a month. And there would be comic dealers there. And there would be actresses from like Star Wars, you know, yeomans, people like that. Nobody really super famous. Stop me if you've heard this one before. And out in the lobby, I love telling this one. Out in the lobby, sitting in a phone booth, because they had like these wooden phone booths that had like seats in there, waiting for his kid to go about in the show. And the show was just like, it wasn't really like it is now, and the where you have back issues behind them. On wombats is what we call them. It was more like on a table type stuff. And, you know, you go and you hunt for things through boxes and stuff. And that's where you would find like older comic books at increased rates. And out in the lobby waiting for his kid was BJ Honeycutt from MASH. And I never screwed around and wanted to like find out about BJ's life. But so there you go. So I went to a convention once, one of those conventions. It was like in the lobby of a hotel, and John Romita Jr. was there, and I had him sign my 214. So I'm in, or 213, I mean. So I'm in recollecting my comics from my youth, especially my Spider-Mans. Just like it's like 100 issues I want to get, and this is one of the ones I needed. So there you go. We got another one off the grid. It feels, I don't know. It's weird. It feels like, I wish I could show it to you. Like maybe it's just the plastic and maybe not the book, but it, like there's a lip here. And I'm not sure if, well, I can see it. Anyway, that's my, that's Cracking the Slab, everybody. Check this out. I've got Bone number 1. I pressed it. This is the first print that I got from a buy. I looked this up online, or not online, but in the guide. I don't want to put comics in slabs. I trust my grade. But am I throwing so much money away by not slabbing it and putting it up for auction? Maybe it doesn't matter. I'll just put the price up for it. I mean, if I don't agree with the with grading stuff, having CGC do my work for me, I have a very rude way of suggesting why a person wouldn't want to get their comics graded if they own a store. If you come in, I'll tell you if you ask. Wow, that went really easy. Along the side, if you can pull it, crack it, you get that thing out right away. You still have some more work to do. So in the show notes, I said we have maybe more that we're going to talk about. Yes, I'm going to talk a little bit more. We finally got in bags, and this is all store stuff. Bags and boards, regular bags and boards, so that you can fit your normal comic books in them. So those are going to be available for you. Not only do I have them for single use, but I also have them in groupings. But even better, and Talking Soul let me know that there was not a sale, but finally for sale, Mylar bags and boards from E. Gerber. Now, they didn't have full backs, but these are cheaper. And really, seriously, halfbacks aren't that bad anyway. We've got halfbacks here. I mean, these are all very expensive things. And we've got My Lights for standard comic books. These are the thin ones. When I was younger, the thicker ones were the ones that everybody wanted. Now everybody wants the thin ones. And they have these flaps that go like this. They're excellent. And I don't know if you're going to be able to tell the difference, but here is a couple of comics I worked on. And they both look nice. But the Mylar, as Fantinium likes to let people know that I've said in the past, is like beer goggles for comic books. If this bag makes the comic book look good and well protected, then this one is even better. And the thing about bagging and boarding, and since we're getting into the inside baseball and bags and boards, the suggested amount of time that you are supposed to leave a comic book like this in a regular bag and board, 1 year. You're supposed to change both, even the bag and the board, every year. Now you say to yourself, that's no way I've done that. I get my comic, I read it, I put it in the bag and board, and maybe I take it out to read it again. Definitely I don't do it to rebag. Now, my pals and I back in the day, we would have bagging parties, where we'd go over and we would rebag our friends' comic books. And we would read them at the same time. I'm sorry if your Amazing Spider-Mans aren't in perfect condition because of me. But at least we bagged them. And I really read Superman anyway. So, there you go. Bags and boards in Fantastic Comics. And I've been checking prices, and I know I'm going to be selling them cheaper. So let's get this train rolling, and we'll all try and save money off of it. So if you need bags and boards, whether it's Mylars, current standard, regular bags and boards, we got those for you. If we need more, we can work on it, and we can also get Silver Age and stuff like that. It looks like things are going pretty well right now. And we're going to have a bunch of awesome comic books to price up and make look really nice also. All right. I guess last up, we're going to be doing some new comic book day talk. Some things that are going to get you ready for tomorrow. There's no video for that, so I'm just going to turn that off right there really quick. I'm going to look. Gun follow-through depends on financing and who's in charge, I would assume, for sure. Because we know that there's been times already where DC, I say DC, but we know it's like, Discovery and whatever or Discover. Is it Discovery? It doesn't matter. It's all these freaking entertainment conglomerates that own everybody and deciding on a moment's notice whether or not they're going to continue forward with things. But it's also understandable, because if they're going to hitch their wagon a gun, then you don't need all that stuff that came beforehand. Although they're picking and choosing what things that they're going to bring out. Like they've already, to begin the video, James Gunn talks about Shazam that's going to be coming out number 2. Flash with that pervert. Blue Beetle something. Aquaman 2. And then his stuff's going to start up. And, funny enough, because I didn't record it for you guys, he talks about Creature Commandos. He talks about Waller. And then he says, but it's really starting with Superman Legacy, which starts in 2025. So I think the success of Creature Commandos and Waller, and again, how it looks like things are going on the Superman Legacy, that's going to tell us how things are going forward. That's just a guess. Eric Brains here. Hello, Eric. If you can afford to rebag and board your comics everywhere, you probably collect the odds. Well, instead of doing that, you just do Mylar, because the thing about Mylar is it's supposed to be good for 200 years. And the boards that they use are even better. Oh, no. Even better than what we normally use, if you believe that. I'm not going to live 200 years, so I'm going to be okay with Mylar. The problem is when you live in climes like Florida and stuff like that, where you have to really worry about the regulating your weather and, inside the stuff. Oh, damn. Let me get rid of that. There we go. All right. Let me see if I can read this. Dark Wave Ferry. Mine had their bags and boards for about 2 decades before I rebagged them. And did you notice that sometimes on the board you'll have like the impression of the advertisement from the back cover, or sometimes from the inside back cover? Crazy. Battle Buddy, what about the Constantine movie? Did you talk about? I didn't see anything about Constantine. Nothing at all. Eric Breen says, I use Comic Pro Line and so far so good. Excellent. They're like a poor man's Mylar. Yeah, I hear you there. There's also the Clearboard people. I think I think those come to like $1.50 for the bag and the clear board, which I don't think you really need a lot of those, just for those gatefold covers. Not even gatefold, but just, wrap around. All right, new comics, everybody. This is a strange week. My DC, not one person had a pull for any of the issues, and most of the issues were one-shots. So check this out. First up, we have X-Force number 37. I'm all but caught up with X-Force right now. We're going to finally find out about this Peacock dude. He's been around since like the beginning. Ben Percy's writing it. This is a different illustrator than the previous issues, but it's been pretty good. Avengers number 65. This is part of the Avengers Assemble storyline. It's running through Avengers, and then Avengers Forever, then Avengers, and Avengers Forever. And this is the story of Loki Prime. Oh, wait, Avengers Prime, who we found out last issue is Loki. And now we're going to find out all about them. It's not quite the Loki you think it is. It's very interesting. Makes me think I can't trust him. A Loki you can't trust? Jason Aaron's work on Avengers is divisive. It's been going on too long, that's for sure. But I think most of these stories recently have been pretty cool. Next up, we have Moon Knight, plus a story guest starring Blade. Wow, they're really trying with this Blade. Anytime I listen to Thinking Critical and Wes talk about Danny Lore, the writer of the new Blade series coming up, man, they just rip. I don't know anything about that person. A new one. Moon Knight's been pretty good, and Jed McKay's. I thought this was going to be the year of Chip Zdarsky, and that remains to be seen because I really don't want to read any more Batman. And Mark Waid's doing all those, the Lazarus Planet and stuff like that. I think it might be the year of Jed McKay if he can get on that Avengers title faster than normal, sooner than later. Let's just say that. Finally, Dark Web is over. It didn't really seem like it took that long, but it was like 3 or 4 Spider-Man issues. So it's got, who is it? I can't read that. Is it Adam? Yeah, it's Adam Kubert on art, and Zeb Wells is writing it. It's more serious than the Spider-Man and some of the other issues are concerned. I'm just happy this is over and we can get into the really cool Joe Kelly Spider-Man storyline that's going to be occurring soon. Do I have any pictures of that? I don't know if I do. I know I do, but I might not have brought them up. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, Spidey is going to be written by Joe Kelly just for a couple issues. Next up, we have Lazarus Planet Legends Reborn. Oh, it's got a Firestorm series and story. Oh, and it's also got Beast Boy, Zatanna, a whole bunch of people writing it. I don't order too many of these, so if you guys need it, you better come in early. Scarlet Witch number 2. Number 1 was a sellout. Steve Orlando. I don't usually say things like that when you write books. Sarah Pichelli is on art. And I got more number 1s so that anybody that didn't get it can get the whole story. But like most comic stores, I did order a little bit less of number 2. So you better let me know that you want that. Next up is Flash, the 1 Minute War Special. All right, for those of you that don't know, and you come on into the store, we have a buy this series all the way through and get a $5 credit. But you got to be caught up, and you got to be able to talk to me about the series. One of those series is Flash, the 1 Minute War. Sold out of $7.91, by the way. We're doing really well on that, everybody. But you are not at all obligated to buy Flash 1 Minute War Special. In fact, I assume most of you aren't going to buy it, so that's okay. This is not part of it. But I paged through it. Jeremy Adams works on most of it, and it's got really good art. So if you want to see these different speedsters do some stuff in this special, you should probably check it out. Here you speculators go. Oh, no, well, actually, this one would be 2. John Jennings and Valentine Delandro. Silver Surfer Ghostlight, number 1. Something about this makes me think it's going to suck, but I can't remember what. And I don't want to expose myself to what that is. So other than reading Silver Surfer Ghostlight. So I know there's a lot of people out there that like Silver Surfer. Number 1, it's coming out tomorrow. And number 2, I like to go into it a little, naive so that I can actually decide whether or not I personally like it or if I'm not slanted or tainted by something that I've seen or heard by these creators or by what the story is going to have happen in it. So Silver Surfer is coming out tomorrow, everybody. Get this mini-series tomorrow. Batman, Legend of Gotham. It doesn't even look like there's really Batman in it. I mean, we've got Katana and Red Hood. And it's written by Andy Diggle. Oh my God, I love The Losers. And I mean, at that time, he couldn't do any wrong. I loved Andy Diggle's work. I'm not going to read this because, you heard about my Batman stance. But I think it does look pretty cool. Demon Wars, Down in Flames. Peach Momoko is telling a story. Each issue is a number 1. Each issue you can read on its own, but there is a continuing story. This is part 3. I've got the previous issues. Come on in and get it. Or wait till the big collection comes out. I'm sure they'll do an omnibus eventually. Here we go, guys. Danny Lore and Somebody Darbo on art. Bloodline, Daughter of the Blade. Oh my God. Blade spawned a child? When did this happen? Oh, I told you I wasn't big into Tomb of Dracula, and Blade wasn't that big a deal to me. So him having a daughter probably, whatever. I'm sure she's sassier and badder and more awesome with the blade than he is, even if it is his name. Nonetheless, we got a brand new character, so y'all might want to pay attention to this. Speaking of new characters, we've got Star Wars, Sana Staros. I don't know a thing about this, and it also sounds like it's not really her first series. Hopefully they introduce somebody else in this, so you're going to want to pick it up. I got my Star Wars heads out there, so I'm not worried. All right, Black Tape, number 1 by AWA. That's the Artist Writers Association? Whatever. This is written by Dan Panosian. You know that guy that inked comic books? And drawn by Dalibor Talajic. All right, this one's interesting. It sounds like it's a horror story. And this woman used to be married to that rock and roll singer behind her who died. And I guess maybe he made a deal with the devil. And those people are coming to collect on the last recordings that this person made. And this woman has possession of them and is being chased down. And the deal with these recordings is that they are a way to bring hell on earth if you, I guess, like record it or play it or something like that. 4-issue miniseries. That sounds pretty interesting. I know I've got a few of these, and you should check it out. Star Trek number 4. This is where they're taking a bunch of different Star Trek characters from different seasons and putting them together with Cisco. Let's make sure we know that Cisco is involved. This is the last. Oh, actually, yeah, these are. Oh, no. Here, I'll do this one first. This is Nottingham Tales. These are stories of the Nottingham series. I'm assuming they're going to be like different characters. Maybe if he's still in chat, Joe can confirm or deny. Nonetheless, if you're a fan of the Nottingham series that Mad Cave has been putting out, you should check this out. Also, check out Dahlia in the Dark while you're at it. Maybe Joe can tell you why in the chat also. All right, this is a company called Sumerian. I'm just going to show you these 3 books. Nobody's Girl comes out. Purple Oblivion comes out. And lastly, The Firstborns comes out. Maybe I'll get around to talking about them. They all seem like they're a little bit horror, although Nobody's Girl was a little bit more noir style. They're a little smaller than normal comics, and if you're looking for something that isn't like mainstream, or if you think indie is Image or like Volt or Scout or Mad Cave, these guys seem to be doing something a little bit different than all those others, but not a ton different. There's still like the whole body horror and alien and horror aspect going on with a few of these books. But I enjoyed the ones that I've read, and you should check them out. And with that, New Comic Book Day is over. Any of those books look interesting to you guys? I'm a Clearboard person for the back ads. Oh, well, that makes sense also. The Silver Surfer series looks like an excuse to introduce a new character no one will remember. But then they make a movie of that character. See, I feel that, like, those are nice little bumps in the comic store. Those are nice little bumps to get people excited, but it doesn't really keep people sticking around. I had a guy come in and he wanted a Star Wars comic book that I had slabbed and graded, and I had it at a price that was that was normal at one time and is now higher than it is now. And he kept wanting to talk me down. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't care. Just the way it is. He wants it really bad for his collection, but also wants to make money on it if he should ever want to sell it. So he obviously wants to buy it low. Well, obviously, we all want to buy these things low and sell high. If the minute I heard that, I wasn't ever going to waffle. If I felt like, oh my God, this is going in my collection and I just need this is the last one, I'll make a deal with you. You got to have it. This is what you want. I'm going to take it out of the thing immediately. I'm not going to press it or anything. I just want it in my thing. I'll be like, oh, this is awesome. Yes, this is a person that really wants this book. I have to do something for them. But, if you care so much that I don't go to any other store and hope to get a return on my investment. You know, the minute the car leaves the lot, it's it's depreciated, right? Isn't that what it is? Why in comic books is this the place where everybody haggles? You know, I mean, you can haggle. It's fun to haggle. That's why I price to hire now. I've got a Transformers newsstand edition. I'm grading it over 9.2. It's probably a 9.6. I don't care. I'm putting an outrageous price on it. And I'm going to put it in a Mylar tomorrow, just like one of these right here. And it's going to look beautiful. And if someone doesn't want it, it doesn't matter. When somebody wants it, they'll be like, damn, I can either spend a lot of money for this grade because it got slabbed, or I can trust Yule, buy it, and then spend $40 extra and then get it slabbed if I have to do it that way. You got to do some work for it now. This is it, you know. Or I could just say, if I hear that you're going to slab a book after you buy it from me, I'll just charge you double. How's that? We can do that. That'd be fine. You know, oh, it's $200 book. Oh, awesome. I want this. Oh, I'm going to slab it tomorrow and everything. $400. Don't be honest with me. Yeah, it's expanded Nottingham lore. And yeah, Dahlia is a crime noir urban fantasy that's fast paced. I showed just about 3 or 4 pages of the first issue, and I really, really enjoyed it. Haven't read the second yet, but it's sitting right behind the counter. I have this thing where my old boss, if he caught you reading, it was like, you know, the end of the world. And even owning a store, it's really hard to not just be doing work at the store. Other than like looking at, you know, a score of a game or, you know, some Twitter, maybe. But, you know, these are important things. I got to find out what's going on with James Gunn. Cimmerian. Cimmerian used to be Behemoth, but it got bought out. Cimmerian is a heavy metal. Yeah, these are... I also saw heavy metal / massive. Massive is also / whatnot. I'm getting very confused with these companies, and it's becoming harder to care about ordering from some of them. Cimmerian feels like it's getting people from outside this country. It's kind of feels like a Blaze. And that's probably the difference between a Blaze and Cimmerian and maybe like, you know, a Scout and Vault, Mad Cave, Oni. Those are more American indie type stuff. But those, like when I was saying Scout and Vault, especially, when I was saying like a lot of the IDW imprints or some of the other companies, they're all just so horror themed. You could almost just mash them together. You mash them together, and then just a few of those other things that are not what those are. You know, Cullen Bunn has like an imprint going with, I think, IDW. Guess what? It's going to be all horror stuff because that's pretty much what he does when he's not working for the mainstream. 22 in the chat, hit the like button. Yeah, hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. You should oh wait. I hope I don't time you out. You should charge that comic book $800 instead of $400. That's right. $800. Do I hear 800? I understand when you're buying online, you want to make sure it's in really good condition. The thing is that I'm a store, and I'm telling you it's in good condition. Eventually, if you don't buy something that's graded and you buy from somebody, you have to trust them. You look at their seller's rating or something like that. I'll look at their seller's rating and whether or not they're a store, you know, if I do something like that. Or I look at the scans and hope the scans are good. I'm going to run just for a second some of the YouTube channels I really enjoy. I know I've been running long. Wait, these aren't them. Here we go. Boom. I put a new one, Roll for Combat. It's all about Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that because WotC's been having this upheaval and thing that's been going on. And if anybody wants to know more about that, you should check it out. They also do other stuff. But it's like for role gaming, you know, role-playing nerds. All right, let's see if this works. That's right. It's almost the end of the show. I want to say thank you to everybody that tuned in. Thank you, everybody that's going to be tuning in. Hit the like button. That's that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. If you aren't getting the notifications, they say click it off, click it on, and tell a friend. Also, this is the part of the show where I'm really, really happy to let people know that we have a Patreon account. These are all my patrons scrolling across the screen, the bottom of the screen. Thank you, everybody, for being a patron. Some of them are previous customers of ours that have moved away. Previous customers that are like, fuck comics, but yay, Yule, or yay, Fantastic Comics. We got to keep a comic store in Berkeley because why else am I going to leave the house? I get my food delivered to me. I get my movies streaming. I got streaming services. I got all this stuff. I can get underwear and apples from the same app. I could also do comics, but you know what? They get packaged so poorly from Amazon. And I want to come in and just say hi to someone that wants to talk about the Futurians. Right there. Futurians. And that's what we're all about at the comic store. Wednesdays are really super fun. Every other day is really super fun. But, you know, Wednesdays is where we're really enjoying each other's company. And, I got a bunch of books that we're going to be pricing up, putting in the bins. They've got all the bags and boards ready to go for consumption. It's more expensive if you buy them singly. I'd let you know that up front. So buy the big thick ones. Big stack of them, and you'll save money, and I'll order more soon. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it because like all the patrons that have been with us since we started it slightly before the pandemic, and it was just a way to like let people know that they could give us some money if they don't really want to like purchase something. I'm always more stressing. Buy a comic and read a comic. Buy a comic and read a comic. I want to get you into a comic book. How can I get you into that comic book? Because so many people are like, oh, I got it. I'm saving it up. I'm going to read it. And then they don't. And it keeps going on. Or it stops and starts. And you don't know if you want to keep going on. And then you miss it because you read them all. And you're like, I need the next chapter. All of these things happen. So I'm promoting buying a comic book and reading a comic book because that is the best way to get people to want to keep buying comic books. The movie might excite you, maybe you'll realize there's a comic book it's based off of, but the farther away we get from the original telephone, we won't know what it was like, you know. The farther we get away from the original source material, and we just watch it on Disney at home, and we don't leave the house, and we don't see stuff, can't experience what the real stuff is. So come on into the comic store, come on into your comic store. And like I said, all these patrons that have helped us continue during the hard times. Thank you very much. We will see you next week as we talk more comics. Thank you very much, and hopefully this video plays.
Lucy and Ramona cruising through the jungles of L.A. Hoping to promote a dream somewhere along the way. Rolling through the streets, looking for a disco, passing up the treats from a kid named Cisco, trying to make connections with their blemished food complexions, and just as fate would have it, ended up with Sunset Sam. Sam was selling watches from a suitcase on a TV tray. And Lucy and Ramona kept trying to figure out if he was gay. The three of them were standing, staring at each other, when the light behind their eyes blew each other's cover. The ancient code was branded, and each of them was handed a ticket to their kingdom, 'cause they saw their brother sunset sun. Sunset Sam. Lucy was from Compton, and she met Ramona at the zoo. Ramona was from Brooklyn. She left when she was 22. Sam was a native of the Arizona desert, but he split when he was slated for some governmental make-work. Their differences subsided when the common bond was sighted. They were all from the same place that made the famous sun